Milan became hubs of intense financial growth, creating an incredibly wealthy elite class that sat atop a country where the vast majority of the population remained in the peasantry. In cities like Verona, these politically powerful families became patrons of the arts, and a luxury class emerged, but their status often led to a haughty self-importance. The Montagues and Capulets represent this breed of upwardly mobile elite, families more concerned with their own social standing than the well-being of their community. These two houses are locked in what the play calls an ancient grudge. Crucially, the root cause of this violence is never explained or even hinted at. Not a single character in the play can point to the specific event that started the feud. The street brawls between their servants and nobles shed so much blood that the ruler of Verona, Prince Aeschylus, issues a zero-tolerance decree. He declares that the very next person from either family to participate in a public fight will be put to death. Verona is a city of high-stakes tribalism, where the trivial concerns of the upwardly mobile have created a deadly environment for the younger generation. This relationship map illustrates the social structures of Renaissance-era Verona. In this period, children were bound by duty to honor their families, which meant offering absolute obedience to their parents' social and political ambitions. On the Capulet side, 13-year-old Juliet is the subject of this pressure. Her parents are arranging a marriage to the wealthy Count Paris, believing the match will allow the Capulet family to ascend the social ladder in Verona. Across the boundary line, 16-year-old Romeo is fulfilling his own expectations. He spends his days as a courtly lover, pining for a woman named Rosaline, isolated from the street fights of his kinsmen, but still confined by the structural boundaries of the Montague name. Before they even cross paths, both teenagers are psychological prisoners. They are trapped by codes of honor and social climbing that demand they treat their neighbors as enemies by default. The collision occurs when Romeo, Benvolio, and Mercutio crash the Capulets' annual masquerade ball. This is the moment the structure fractures. Romeo and Juliet fall in love before realizing they belong to rival houses. A direct connection forms through the boundary line, mirroring a shift in their speech. While the nobility typically use the formal, rhythmic patterns of iambic pentameter, Romeo and Juliet drop those formalities when they are alone. They adopt a casual, naturalistic way of speaking to each other, abandoning the rigid linguistic rules of their social class. Realizing their true identities, they choose to move forward anyway. They enlist the help of Friar Laurence to marry in secret, acting in direct defiance of their parents' explicit commands. This secret marriage is a structural transgression against the laws governing Verona's elite. The social order retaliates with violence. Tybalt, a hot-headed Capulet, insulted by the masquerade crash, challenges the Montagues and murders Romeo's friend Mercutio. In a sudden break from his earlier attempts to keep the peace, Romeo retaliates and kills Tybalt with a single strike in the town square. The authorities and the families deliver dual punishments. Prince Aeschylus banishes Romeo to Mantua, while the Capulets order Juliet to marry Count Paris immediately or be disowned. Trapped, Juliet takes a desperate measure. She accepts Friar Laurence's sleeping potion, faking her death for 42 hours, allowing her to wait in the family crypt for Romeo's rescue. The institutions that define their lives, the law and their own parents, have cornered them. Faking her own death becomes Juliet's only logical avenue of escape. The escape plan relies on a messenger who never arrives. Romeo's servant, Balthazar, reaches Mantua with news of Juliet's death before Friar Laurence's courier can explain that she is merely sleeping. Believing Juliet is dead, Romeo ignores the order of his exile and rushes back to Verona. He illegally purchases poison and breaks into the Capulet crypt to die beside his wife. Romeo drinks the poison and dies. Juliet wakes moments later, finds his body, and uses his own dagger to take her own life rather than face her family. For these two, a permanent escape from their parents' control came at the cost of their own destruction. The citizens' watchmen discover the scene, drawing Friar Laurence, Prince Aeschylus, and the feuding parents down into the crypt to investigate the tragedy. Surveying the bodies, Prince Aeschylus tells the Montagues and Capulets that their hatred has killed their children. He concludes that all are punished for allowing a petty feud to escalate for so long. While many Renaissance stories emphasize a child's duty to their parents, this ending focuses on the parents' failure. It suggests that the older generation owes their children respect and openness, rather than demanding they inherit a cycle of violence. Romeo and Juliet remains a study of petty tribalism. It stands as a warning to older generations whose obsession with status and ancient grudges can destroy the very youth they are meant to protect.